This YCN segment is brought to you by LaValle Building Supply and Middleton Building Supply.
Welcome back, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Brett Franklin in studio, and we move over to the Patriots. Just about 10 days until their season kicks off. Just about a week until the NFL regular season kicks off. Patriots a little sloppy in Game 3. That's the all-important Game 3 of the preseason against the Panthers last Friday night. A little sloppy. How concerned should we be? Or is it, once again, preseason, nothing to worry about?
Preseason, I don't think there's anything to really worry about. But there are still positions to be filled out for this Patriots team. Wide receiving core is really a big one. And obviously, what do you do with no Edelman for the first month? It seems like the Patriots have 3 guys for 2 spots right now going into opening day. Then you've got that running back core. Who's on the outside looking in? It looks like it's going to be Mike Gillislee is the outside looking in. I just think it's a preseason game. It's going to happen. Won't see too many of the starters in preseason game number 4. The biggest question is, again, I think it's that wide receiving core. Do the Patriots take 2 of the 3 guys that we talked about that are already on the roster, or do they kind of go through the pile of free agents when the cut-down day happens on Saturday and pick somebody up off the street? That'll be something to keep an eye out on.
And when we look at the roster, we look at the wide receivers, we've talked about this a lot. You've got Dorsett, obviously, Hogan, and then you throw Gronk into that category of a pass catcher because
and I throw James White in there as well. I think James White's going to be a guy.
And Burkhead as well.
Yeah.
So now you look at it. Do they have to take 2 more wide receivers, whether it be Lucien, Barrios, or McCarron? Do they have to take another one of those wide receivers? Would they rather use that spot on a lineman, obviously because Isaiah Wynn's hurt, or do they use it as, I don't think they'll use it as a third-string quarterback. They don't usually do that, or another DB or another defensive lineman, because how much can one of those lower-tiered wide receivers bring? And Belichick is all about depth, and he might rather have more depth at one other position. Would you be surprised if they only carry, basically, obviously taking care of Edelman, but from a wide receiver position, Patterson, Hogan, and Dorsett?
I would think the Patriots would like to have a little bit more bodies there, and again, if you got to cut a guy after 4 weeks, he already knows the playbook. Bringing in a guy off the street really hasn't worked at all for the Patriots. I mean, Joey Galloway, Eric Decker, Kenny Britt. I mean, the name goes on and on. Chad Ochocinco. These guys. It just doesn't seem. It seems like the receivers, with the exception of Randy Moss,
right?
A lot of the successful receivers have been homegrown guys in the sense either they've been drafted or they've kind of been no-name free agent pickups. And I think Bill Belichick goes with 2 guys out of camp here. And if they sign a guy off the street, then clearly, like you said on Tuesday on the radio, then the team has no faith in these guys. But you would think somebody would emerge,
would be able to step up
and step up.
But I don't even think, even if they do pick one of the 2 guys or maybe 2 guys, then they may not last after that 4th week once Edelman comes back.
One of them is destined to stick around.
Right.
One of them will be cut once Edelman comes
Exactly. Okay, so we know there's some trials that will happen on the field, but off the field, it's going to be an interesting season. Tom Brady has a weekly interview with WEI, and it's a contract. They based that with the Patriots, and his first one or maybe not the first one, but one of the ones in the early season didn't go smoothly. It was cut off, or he shut it off, because they asked about Alex Guerrero and his involvement with the team. Is this going to be something that's going to be another topic of contention this season? And with Brady in the wrong, how do you fall on which side of this one?
It really only feels like it's the hometown media that continually
picking on their own quarterback.
Yeah, and I think for the 19 years Tom Brady has played in New England, he's gotten the benefit of the doubt. But I think this is just more so of preseason. We're looking for stories. We're looking for something here. It seems like the interviews with WEI for Tom Brady is more of a nuisance. Is more like of a hassle than anything.
Right.
But he gets paid, and it's an extra thing. It's extra money in his pocket. But as I've been stating, I am a Tom Brady supporter through and through. But Tom, if you're going to talk about how great Alex Guerrero's program is on and off the field and how it does wonders for you, when a guy that he trains gets popped for PEDs, there are going to be questions asked, and you've got to be able to handle it. It's just bad optics,
Right.
You don't have to answer the question.
But then deal with the blowback.
Right, but, if just say, I don't want to answer the question. But, when you hang up, and it just makes you look petty, and I feel like you can do better, Tom. There you go.
Well, and hopefully, like you said, once the season starts, there'll be a little bit more to talk about. And before we hit the break, do you have a final prediction for the Patriots' record in the regular season? What are you thinking?
I think it will be 13-3 for the
All right.
Patriots. I think the first couple of weeks aren't going to be pretty. But the Patriots, I think that's going to be the toughest part of their schedule.
Yep,
It's really the first
few
4
weeks.
games
Yeah.
of the season. But I just don't see anybody challenges this team in the AFC. I think even Jacksonville losing Marquise Lee
Yes.
in the preseason, that's another big wideout weapon for the Jags. So I see the Patriots 13-3. And I do see them representing the AFC. Hopefully, I didn't tip my hand too much.
Well, we do have our picks coming up, so we'll get to wait. We'll get to wait for those Salt Hill
Who will
Pub
they
picks
play?
of the weeks. That's right. Who will they play, and will they win? You'll have to stay tuned. We'll take a break. NFC North preview on our next segment on YCN Sports Talk.